I am Mayaka Joel, a Kenyan Mill Hill student here in Jinja Formation House. Today we are privileged to host our own Mill Hill priest, Fr Philip Adede. He is now one of the consultants of the General Council of Africa, and we are very happy to have him here in our community. And Father, I really welcome you to tell us more about your journey to missionary life, and also how you perceive religious life in general, the church, and also the life of the community. So welcome, Father.
Thank you very much, Joel. It's nice meeting you. It's nice to hear that you're from Gekano,
Yeah, sure.
a very traditional Mill Hill area, and we're really proud that the work the Mill Hill did,
Yes.
all the way from Zambia Hills to, of course, the hills of Kisi, but also the plains of the Kalenjins,
Yeah.
all the way to the Masai. And we really appreciate that. And I think we stand on their shoulders. We build on what the foundation they laid for us, and I think we are proud for what we are and what we do. And just to such my own life, I mean, my inspiration to join Mill Hill came from Father Tilan, the late. He was a big friend to my family when he was in Homa Bay Parish for a while. And then when he moved to Mbita, I happened to study in Mbita. And again, I met him when I was in Mbita High School. And during one of the homilies, I think it's 1995, when they were celebrating 100 years of missionaries in Kenya. So then he talked about, okay, the whites are dying out, they're getting elderly. And the church had been in Africa, in Kenya, particularly for 100 years. I think it was a chance for younger people to be inspired to take up the mantle and continue the work. And so when I finished high school, I wrote to the vocations director, who was John Melly, who had also worked in Luanda, Homa Bay and Kisi diocese. And I was glad that he invited me for an interview, and the rest is history, how it turned out to be.
That's very fantastic. Really, everyone has his own vocation journey. And really yours is like, you got it from the owner, someone who touched you very much. Really, as now you journey together in formation, are there some challenges you met as a student?
I think for me, the formation was rather difficult actually, because I had not been in a churchy environment, apart from family which was very prayerful. And then I went to a very secular high school. And I remember first going to 6 weeks encounter. Those ones we had to do 6-week experience before we went to the admission board. And I went to Angelo Imsam, and the mass was to start at 6 in the morning. And I said, this is too early for me. And it was very cold, and I really struggled with that for quite a while. But I was open about it, and I remember telling him. And he said, it's okay. When you can wake up, it's okay. When you can't, it's okay. So I felt accepted with my own struggles. I didn't need to hide my own struggles and just to accept them. And I think gradually I grew into it and began loving it and enjoying it. And my time in Luanda was very nice. A very beautiful place. And in Luanda was really nice for me. Time to relax, but also time to encounter people from Uganda. It was my first time to live in an international community. And also the formation setup was very relaxed. I mean, we had pastoral going out with Tom Magra on Wednesdays. I think that's to continue to go out and enjoy mandazis and gideri. And we had lovely stories there. I mean, encountering people from Rwanda was really to me an inspiration that remained with me for a very long time. And I think that's what gave me the energy to continue. And when I came to Jinja, of course, philosophy. But again, we take things as they come and we begin to enjoy it. And, the formation was again very interesting. We had Cameroonians, we had Congolese, we had Ugandans, and of course ourselves. Of course, the bigger PCG had even a broader group from the whole of most parts of Africa. So I think right from the beginning, I had that a bit of a wider view already, a wider encounter, to be able to relate to people from different parts. And I really enjoyed it. I see myself as someone who has been very privileged to have met people, who have known people, who have changed my life and have transformed it for better. So, of course, the formation always has got its own joys and sorrows. As a student, you want your freedom, but of course the freedom is limited. But you get to explore and realize, what is good for me and what is it that I need. And And there are things you have to let go and new things. Yeah, just as I was sharing about the challenges of the formation and the choices you have to make. And I think what you look back is through the formation is to be grateful for all the mistakes and the good things done, because they make us who we are. And you shouldn't be afraid of making mistakes, because that's how we learn and how we grow. And to be honest with ourselves and also to be one another, the formators and fellow students, because it allows us to grow to be. And formation doesn't stop at the formation, honestly. I just realized that once we are ordained also, we still continue the formation program. And the biggest formators are the Christians we encounter. Because there's a way they expect us to be, and they offer us a lot. And that shapes always our lives every day. And of course, the ultimate formator is Christ himself, with whom we have to model our lives.
After ordination. Maybe we would like to know whether maybe how do you view missionary life in general? Because you have to go out to reach out to people. What do you think about it?
I think the missionary call is for every baptized person. Once you've been baptized, you've been called to reach out to the other. And the missionary mandate is for each and every person. Of course, as missionaries, you are called in a special way to go out physically.
Yeah, and then I know you have been a support for our society here in East Africa, and now you are in the General Council as the councillor for Africa. What can you maybe tell us who are information about the leadership of the society?
I think one thing is not to worry about leadership. Because it's something that comes naturally, and people put into it. You don't put yourself into it. And I'm very there for a visit. I really enjoyed it, and I really feel that's where my heart belongs.
Yeah.
However, we have to look after each other, which is also a primary call. We are called to mission to one another, and also to mission to people. So I think leadership is about how do we mission to our brothers and sisters within the society and outside. Leadership is about accompanying one another, and it's not a journey that the leader leads, no. It's to be able to work with others and to inspire them and encourage them in what they are doing, and also to be there for them in case they really need support and help. That's one thing I've really enjoyed, going around visiting our members and seeing the good work they're doing. When we are doing it, you don't realize it, but when you come from outside, you see the wonderful work going on. It's really amazing. My visit in Congo transformed my life, seeing what our people are doing there, despite the different.
Pope Francis challenged actually the church members, especially the leaders, to always smell the sheep. And what you are doing actually is the same thing that Pope Francis asked us to do. And now, Fr Leader, are some challenges you have faced?
I think in terms of missionary life and also being a member of Mill, I think the toughest role you'll ever have is of leadership. Because you get to encounter people in their best moments, but also in their worst moments. And sometimes when you have to journey with people and to encounter them in their worst moments, it's really energy draining. Because you have to see the person and not the crisis or the difficulty they are going through. And not everybody will take kindly encouraging words, but also sometimes what you used to call a tough love. To be able to ask people to focus themselves in their missionary identity and to continue the spirit of discernment, because you are called into a discerning spirit. So to encourage people and to challenge them to always be discerning is not an easy thing. But also at the same time, the difficulty also is, as an individual, I have my own struggles. And sometimes I see it in others. It's very easy for me to spot what I'm struggling with the other and project it. So it's up to me always to reflect what is the issue here. Yeah.
Thank you, Father. Yeah, actually now we are struggling economically, the world at large, even to our society. What about this element of sustainability?
I think as a society we are not struggling because we totally depend on God's providence, and God will provide. We don't have doubt with that. However, how do we use what God has provided us with, and how do we prioritize so that the mission remains the center of our life? I think what you need to distinguish is what is my want and what is the needs of the society, because the society will always provide for its needs, there's no doubt about that. But society cannot provide for my wants. I may want to go for holiday in Masai Mara, which is nice, beautiful, but unfortunately that's not really the priority of the society. And as we go through the global crisis caused by the war in Ukraine and also COVID, I think we should be aware of the very people who support us, the donors and the friends who support us, that they are going through a tough time. yet they are still very generous towards us. So in appreciating that they are still generous towards us, I think it calls us to again reflect on our lifestyle as men, which is always a simple lifestyle. We don't take...
Now, Father, I know you had our chapter this year actually, and one of the main issues that you discuss is all about regionalizing this part of East Africa. Now, many of us, we don't know what is a region. Maybe expound more about the region and what happens in a region. Yeah.
I think we're very glad to gather for the chapter in 2022 because it was initially planned for 2020, but due to COVID it had to be postponed. And I think when we met, it was a very good spirit. There had been a lot of preparation, there had been a lot of discussion. And the good thing with the chapter is that you encounter your brother and your sister whom you have been with mission together. So people bring a lot of wealth to share together. And also to be able to reflect on the future of the society. Where do we see the society in the future? And how do we allow God to help us in that discerning process? So I think that was really inspiring. And one of the things, I think regionalization was not a big issue, but I think one of the things that came out is the whole issue of regionalization. I think we need to know that from the society's perspective, we start off as mission areas, but then these places are expected to grow. And as they grow in terms of generating their own members, and also a significant amount of activities within those areas, and also to be able to, like we talk of mission as we come to build the local church, not to take over, not to plant ourselves, but to build it and allow it to flourish. It's the same principle with regionalization that when these places grow, then we allow them to grow into regions. In terms of administration, there's very little difference actually. Very little difference. It's only that the idea that people begin to realize, wow, we have a role to play in the society. So it's not something coming from outside, but how do we see ourselves building our own future and also care for members then? How do we care for one another and care for members? So it does not become something we look from outside, but within ourselves, like members from East Africa, members working in East Africa, they now begin that process of thinking, where do they want the future to be? Where do they want to focus in terms of missionary identity and missionary focus? Where do they want to focus on?
That's very nice.
Yeah.
So I take this opportunity, Father, to thank you very much for sparing this opportune moment for us here to interact with you. You know, it's rare. It's rare really to interact with you because you know you are busy here and there, but you spared this very moment to just talk with us and know more about our society. So I really appreciate, and we have been with Fr Philip Adede, is councillor for Africa. So it's really a very good opportune moment for us. Thank you, Father, and I wish you all the best.
Thanks very much. I really appreciate Joy. And
Thank you.
Wish you all the best and hope to see you as a member soon.
Thank you very much, Father.